Hi, my name's Katy and I'm going to be making some of the crochet hexagons for the Big and Little Crochet throw. And we're starting off with the first one with these lovely colours, the pink and grey, rose and slate. And I've got my hook all ready. And the first one's called Treble Rose. So I'm going to start off by making a chain with the pink yarn, and I'm going to take the yarn from the center of the ball. You'll see why when you do it. If you've done it the other way, you'll know that it can end up in a bit of a tangle. So I'm going to start off by making a slip knot, and for lots of you, you'll know how to do this, but if you don't, watch carefully. I'm just going to make a simple twist in the yarn, and then the long end goes behind and up through the hole. There we are. And then you've got a knot that you can just undo or make bigger and smaller. So I'll show you again. I'm just going to make a simple knot by pulling that up through there. And that's our slip stitch. And now I'm going to make 6 chains and join them into a ring. So there's 6 chains, and you can count them. So don't count this one that's on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to make it into a ring by doing a slip stitch back into that first chain. Just straight through. Now we're going to do some trebles into the ring. So I need to get up to the right height, and so I need to do a 3 chain, which is called the standing chain. And now I'm going to do 11 trebles. So yarn over the hook into the ring, yarn over again and through 2, yarn over again and through 2. So I'll show you that again. Yarn over into the ring, pull the yarn back, yarn over again through 2, through 2, through 2, through 2, yarn over into the ring, pull the yarn back, through 2, through 2. So you need 12 of these little stitches all together. That includes the first 3 chain that you did. That counts as your first stitch. So keep going all the way around the ring, and I'm working over the top of this short end so that it gets worked in and doesn't come loose afterwards. So when you've done your 12 trebles, including that 3 chain, we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of it there. So we're going to go into that 3rd stitch and try and go under 2 bars and then pull the yarn through again. And that's the end of the first round. Now in the second round, we're going to do 2 trebles into some of these stitches. So we start off with a 3 chain again, and then a treble into the same stitch or space where that one is. And then I'm going to do the same thing again into the next stitch. So I'm going to go in that under those 2 bars along the top there, that's the stitch. And then another one into that same space. And now we're going to have a 2 chain gap and then 2 trebles into the next one. So the 2 chain spaces happen on every corner. So you'll see, to make a hexagon, of course, it's got 6 sides. So we're going to have 6 of these 2 chain spaces. And then we go another 2 into here. So along each side you've got 4 trebles and then a little space at either edge. So keep doing that all the way around. So at the end of the second round, I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that 3 chain again, just like we did in the round below. And now we're going to fasten off the pink because we're going to use the grey next. So I'm going to leave a little length, long enough to sew in later on if we want to. and then so I've cut the yarn and I'm just going to pull it through, and that will fasten it off. So we've got a loose end, and we can cut off this bit here because that's been worked in, so it's fine to take it off now. Okay, so you can see we've got a hexagon already with these little holes at the corner where the 2 chains were, and now we're going to join the slate yarn, and the easiest way to do that is with a slip stitch again. So I'm going to make another slip stitch and join at any of these corners. So I'll just do it here. So I'll put my hook through the work first and then pick up the slip stitch, pull it through, and being sure to take the long end, I've done that too many times with the short end, do a little chain to fix it in. Now we start off again with a 3 chain, so I've done 1, 2, 3, and then 1 treble in each of the next 4 stitches. So that means along here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's in the little V's along here, so we have to go right under there for our first stitch, and then under here. Not forgetting, of course, that we're using UK terminology, so a treble is not a treble. In America they call it a double crochet, which is a bit confusing, so you just have to watch out for that. They're the same stitches, they've just got different names. So we've done 4 stitches along the side, and then in the corner space we're going to do another treble, and then our 2 chain gap again, and another treble into that space, so not into the stitch, into the space, and then along the row again we're going to go into the stitches again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's our first one there. So keep doing that all the way around, and when you get to where the loose end is, just hold it over the edge and work it in. If that's too fiddly, we can just sew it in later on. So at the end of that round we have to do another treble into that last corner space. So you have 1 from your 3 chain that you started with, and now you do the last treble into there, and then 2 chain for our corner, and then we're going to fasten off again. So we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the 3 chain, and then cast off, fasten off, however you like to say it. There we are, and we can cut off, I'm going to leave that end, but we can cut off these other ones that have been worked in, and then it's a bit confusing having too many ends around. That's what it looks like at the back, and that's what it looks like at the front so far. And now we're going to rejoin the pink yarn, and we've got some more trebles, so it keeps going in the same way, just that you get more trebles along each side, so obviously the edges are getting bigger as you go around. So let's start off at any corner, and we start off again with 3 chains, and then we're going to do a treble into each of these stitches, and there were 6 in the last row, so there's going to be 8 in this row, and we start off right on this stitch here. And so you do 1 in each stitch along there until you get to the corner. And in the corner we're going to do exactly the same as we did on the row below, with with 2 chain and another treble. Then I've worked that end in enough now, be able to cut that off later. And when you get to this bit here where the knot from the previous round is, it's slightly difficult to know which is the stitch and where you're going, and I think strictly speaking the stitch is over here, not down there, so you have to try and get your hook into there can be slightly awkward. And then lay that yarn down so that it goes round the back, and then you can conceal your join. So at the end of the 4th round, we're going to do a treble into the space and a 2 chain, and then join with a slip stitch to the top of that first 3 chain there. And we're not going to cast off because we're going to do the next round in the pink as well. So we need 3 chains to start off, and then 1 into each of these 8 stitches there are now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's our 8 there. And again, it's the same thing in the corner with 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble in the corner space. Not forgetting to go under both those bars there. If you go under just the back like that, you'd have a ridge, a line at the front, and it would, I mean, it looks quite nice having a ridge, but that's not what we're doing in this pattern. And here's the corner. So 1 treble, 2 chain, and another treble. Being careful not to cover up that first stitch. So there's the first stitch right there. So when we get to the end of that last round, we need to do the 2 trebles in the corner space. So I've done 1 and 2 chain, and now I'm going to do the last treble and then slip stitch into the top of the 3 chain, and then we're done. So I'm going to leave a bit of a tail so that we've got enough to work in later on, and then pull that through. And we can cut the grey because I worked that in underneath, so give it a little tug. And there we are, our first hexagon done.